So Deepak, it's your turn now. Thank you everyone
Yeah,
for listening to my presentation, and this session will be available in Channel 9 this next week. Thank you.
thanks, Rahat. So thanks everybody to having this our tech discussion webinar. I would try to make it interactive as much as possible, as well as my sole objective is today after this session, we have fair idea about, you know, about cloud storage, about blob storage, about data warehouse, which we talked earlier. And we came to know with the answers why we need blob storage or why not we use another storage type. So, so that's my agenda. And thanks again. So today we talk about Azure storage. As we know, storage is the most important part for any business, right? If we have any business without data, we can't afford to have data compromise in any condition. We can't afford to have data still. We can't afford to have data having some network compliances which is vulnerable to various regions. So we will cover all that scenarios. So today we will discuss about how we can deliver the high scale and low cost Azure storage data. We will do a live demo over here. I will share sample code with you guys from which you can, play around. That is Visual Studio Code. You can download from my article from my website. We will look over Azure Storage Tool also, how we can have blob storage or unstructured data, how we can manage that, how we can move ahead with that. So that is we are going to cover. So first of all, what I want to say, like last time we talk about the Azure Data Warehouse, which is the structured way of storage. If I'm saying structured way, you could say, okay, relational database, maybe SQL Server. But today we will talk about blob storage, which is another form of storage, which is unstructured database. If we talk about unstructured database, probably things come into our mind. What does that mean? Uh, that means if we have data from satellite and we are storing it, say live traffic data in Vancouver or in Toronto or in Regina, so that storage type would be unstorage type. Another another unstorage type is having the log files from nuclear reactor where we are updating it, appending it with infinite time, with infinite length. So that would be the blob storage. It is not, today we are not talking about structured storage which we did earlier, but it would be the blob storage or unstructured storage like log file, like image, like live telecast, recording, etc. We will cover a couple of scenarios to understand it better. We will cover the key concept, what architecture it follows, and we will going to have a demo, live demo, uh, through Azure portal. A, B by code, C by a tool. So the whole understanding after this scenario, after this session, definitely we would have, cover about Azure storage in nitty gritty. And that would be the objective of this session. Okay, so if I talk about current storage challenge, say being a developer, when I was developing an application 12 years back, uh, the main challenge in front of me was to create a website having a database, but I don't know about what the scalability database required. After 2 years might be, currently I develop a web application having user base in Canada, but after 3 years, if all the user base is shifted to the Europe, then what will be happen? Scalability being doing scalable in database, that is really cumbersome task for any developer or any team, and that is also covered some risk that cost us because we have to increase the infrastructure, and without any scalability limit business can't move forward. So if I would say all these things are handled automatically by Azure Cloud Storage, I think that would be a great relief for any developer, any architect, and from business perspective, that is, uh, kind of business need. So that we are going to do with storage, and it addresses the storage scalability limit. We don't have to worry about hard drive. It is the automatically append. We don't have to worry about the risk management nowadays, what the threat we experience. So that is also covered by risk management. And as far as we talk about the cost, it is pay per use. So if you are not using 1 PB of data, or you are only using 100 GB of data, then you will be charged for 100 GB. So that is the strength. So how the challenge can be addressed by the storage challenge? We have limitless scalability, we have trust, because till now, till today, uh, May 27th, not a single incident has been reported of any threat compromised at cloud storage, cloud economics, and that gives to the business agility. If we have limitless scalability, we know if today my application is at Canada or North America and tomorrow it's going to be after a year in Europe or after that in Africa, then definitely I have that strength to expand my business without taking care of about the scalability. It has trust, it's pay per use. If I'm using 10 GB of data, I will charge for 10 GB, not for 100 GB, and that gives us the business agility, that strength our business. So what is the Azure storage? If we talk about Azure storage is the foundational building block of Azure. Like we talk about last time, we talked about Azure Data Warehouse, where uh, we store SQL, we have data lake store, but today we talk about Xbox, Skype, uh, unstructured data. It is very hyperscale, more than 120 trillion object. It's durable, it's secure, it's highly available, and it's open. We have APIs from which we can access the data, we can play around that, we can append it, we can put it, we can delete it. We are going to address and touch base those on further slides. And we have strength of hybrid stack also. So that would be the Azure storage. Azure storage services come into two forms. If we now we have fair about idea about Azure storage, where we talk about that data storage or structured storage versus unstructured storage, which is today we are covering. So it's come into two form: infrastructure as a service, where we have storage, we have VM, we have network, or we have platform as a service, where we have existing frameworks, say our web application, and we are using their service or compute power to have that. So for Azure storage service, we have disk, we have files, couple of data which we need. Where a platform as a service, we have objects, table, and queues. So whatever our business need is, whatever the budget is, as per our business scenario, if we are appending our old application or versus if we are creating the architect of new application, we have all the strengths as IaaS, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. So we can build on unified distributed storage system, and we can have various strength, like we can have local regional replication. We can have the local replication of a data. If my data is at Regina, that is in North America, I can have, you know, 3 replicas, maybe in New York or maybe in that local region itself. We can protect our data against disk node rack failures. We don't have to worry about all that stuff. Whereas global replica system is, we have 6 replica, 2 regions or 3 regions. For example, I want my data to be stored in, if my application or my business is at a Canadian region and I want my data to be stored in Europe, because of I want different continent, to mitigate the risk of disaster, natural disaster. So that is the reason we have strength of GRS. We can have our data replicate on any location. Another benefit is, if my data is at Canadian, if I have my business in Canadian location or North American location, and in future if my business is more in Africa, then I don't have to worry about it. Will take care about that. It's protect against major regional disaster. That is another requirement of business. We can't, Royal Bank of Canada can't afford to have their database in same geographical region, or any bank or any business can't afford. In case of any disaster, if they lost data, what can be the repercussion? We can think about that. And another option is GRS plus read access to secondary. We have secondary endpoints. So we talk about Azure storage. We can store it in local region. We can store it into global region, and we can have read access storage about, on different regions with more strength. So it gives us more consistency. We always scrub our data to preserve from data integrity. So that's the reason we are using Azure storage. And now it's time to have, one demo. uh, but prior to that, I will cover another some basic points. What is blob storage, object storage? It store and serve unstructured data. Unstructured data means app and web scale data, big data from IoT. Diksha was talking about genomics, etc. In genomics, for one human being, more than 13 million record happen. For that, we definitely required unstructured data. Backup and archive, for example, a nuclear power station log file, the data which is sent by the satellite. So definitely that is form of unstructured data, and we don't know what type of data, how much it have to append. So that is another feature. We don't need to worry, or we have strength to store data in PBs of data. It's durable. We can use LRS and GRS, global or locally replica system. It is highly available. We can't afford, or any business can't afford, to lose data any point of time or any downtime. So it has 99.99% of availability. It is strongly consistent, dynamically scale up and bandwidth. It is cost effective. We talk about cost effectiveness because it's pay per use. If you are using it, you are paying it. It's not about something, if you that some plan where you are not using it, you are going to pay it. So that is the blob storage services, which is in high demand because of data integrity, because of the data required strength, the agility, scalability, security, all that things are covered by Azure Blob Storage, which is unstructured data. For example, YouTube images, videos, that is a form of unstructured data. They are using storage. So that's the blob storage, some basic concept which I touch through so that you have background before we deep down into code or tools. But certainly I'm sure you, after this session, you guys have, fair idea about blob storage. Why it is ideal for platform as a service? Why? Because it has limitless scale, globally accessible. I'm sitting over here. I'm on my vacations in Mexico, and I have to do change the GRS to LAS, or change the security, or change the container. I could do that from anywhere where I have internet access. It's not about I have to move to that data warehouse physically to make the change. No, I can do it with tablet, I can do with mobile if I have access to internet. So that is the global accessibility. It's less dependent on a physical location. It's cost efficient. Scenarios for applications where we have to use it. We have live data repository. For example, we talk about, say, Chicago traffic management. They are recording all the data of different streets of Chicago to look over the security and traffic, that is come under data repository umbrella, and that is unstructured data, active and deep archive. If we have to preserve the data for some nuclear test which is going on from last 12 years or some research, then definitely storage, blob storage will be in use, and data analytics. So what is Azure storage concept? Here is we are on Azure storage cloud. We can have, one person can have multiple subscription, and one subscription can have multiple account. Say if here is anybody of us, we can have multiple subscriptions, subscription 1, 2, 3, and we can have various storage account. What is the benefit? What we will achieve? We will achieve, we can keep the separation of concern. We can have a different storage account related to each other. Probably we are involving on 10 different activities, so we can have 10 storage accounts. So it doesn't restrict anybody to have one subscription versus one storage account. Container is kind of folder, you could say, our folder at system. Beneath that we can have our data. In this case today we are talking about the blob data or blob storage. So that's the reason. How Azure storage work? Azure storage, if you have to access, if uh, uh, you want to share your data to me, I'm sitting on different geographical location. I think everyone of us is on different geographical location. How we could share the data? We could share the data with the URL where HTTP storage account would be the Deepak Kaushik for me, or for you, Carlos or Diksha or Rahat, anybody, blobco.net, container name or blob name. That is the, we can give the blob name, we can have container, we can have one container, under one container we can have multiple blobs. So that is the storage URL. Type of blob. How many type of blob we have? We have three type of blobs. One is the block blob. Block blob are, we store the data in blocks. That is more commonly used. 90% of our development scenario, we are using the blocks storage. For example, documents, we have one document for Regina chapter, another is for my Chicago Tech Talk, another is for my Montreal Tech Talk. So we have different documents, images, we can have different images, video. So maximum time we have block blobs. Second time is append blob. Append blob, as name suggests, which is continuously increasing. For example, log files, they are increasing day by day. We can't break log files because of the consistency. Satellite is sending the data, and that is appending data, So that is logging big data, that is append data. Page blob are kind of our index on our book. So we name them, okay, 5122 any number. So that is three type of blob. We look over blob 90% of our time we will be around this. Append blob can be when we are playing role of like one of my friend who is working on uh, International Atomic Research Center. They are using append blobs or page blobs as per business scenarios. For example, banking system probably they need it for particular branch, so they have page blob. So block names, for example, for us, it may be the perk blob.core image. This is my September Regina chapter, uh, I present the same. So yeah, that's what can be the blob name for you. Uh, it can be anything. You can have your container name, you can have your name, and there are certain rules we will look over when we will create the blob. uh, when we do a demo. Account name can be 3 to 24 character lowercase only. That's why you couldn't find DEE as capital, because it's lowercase only. Container name is 3 to 63 lowercase only. Blob name is 1024 case sensitive. And that's the some rules of blob names. Blob structure, standard property, blob, page blob, append blob. We look over different these e-tag and last modified. We have the blob where we maintain the concurrency when this blob had modified, or we look over the size in bytes uh, about the blob. We can have up to 8 KB of unique name associated with it, and we can have up to 5 TB, 5 terabyte per blob. One blob we can have 5 terabyte. We can have n number of petabytes data. That is not restriction for us. So now it's time for us for have blob storage for a demo. And for demo I'm going to my Azure portal. Let me open it, my Azure portal. This is my Azure portal. As Rahat has also told you, if you don't have subscription in Azure portal, please create your subscription. It's subscription is through $200 we get credited, so we can play around that in that amount. So we have some storage. In storage for blob storage, we are doing one demo. Someone is just arrived, so he has also I want him to look over. So what we are doing, we are creating demo for blob storage. Here is we are on storage, and from storage we are creating the blob file table queue. So this is we are creating our blob storage. So let me give the name. We will give the webinar May 27th, because everything should be in small. .core.window.net. Deployment model is the resource model or classic model. Whenever we have any doubt, we can use this sign to get the information. It's a resource manager for new application. Of maximum time we are using it. Account type, say blob storage is our account type. Standard or premium. For standard, like we are maximum time using standard. Reason is premium is bit expensive. If your business required very like you need very good performance, for example banking or financial transactions, then probably you could use the premium. Replication, we look at three type of replication in our presentation decks earlier. There are three types of replication. We can say locally redundant storage, geo redundant storage. Locally redundant storage say in same geography, geo redundant storage in different geography. Read access geo redundant storage is, uh, with some extra features or extra strengths over there. So access tier cool and hot. Cool, when our data is not used frequently, we use cool. Hot, if our data is used very frequently, we use hot. So for example, for finance transaction, probably we would be on hot, whereas for government website where the number of users are not so high, then we could use cool. Choosing an access tier let you specify the access platform for data residing in blob storage. The hot access tier is idle for frequently accessed data. So when you create today this, definitely you can try to create, with different options. I'm using my MPN Microsoft Partner Network subscription. You can have developer subscription or another subscription. Resource group, you can create existing Deepak resource for webinar, which we use, for my webinars. Location, we have, I think, I got on my website couple of questions about location also. So we have different location. I could choose Canada Central this point of time. So we have created webinar May 27th blob storage, which is unstructured type of storage. It will create it. It has created it. It now deployment in process. We have our deployment. That's cool. Webinars, we use standard Canada Central cool type, and it's deploying it. Meanwhile, it's deploying it. I would also like to share, if you guys want to do practical, want to download, code, you, this article is published on C Sharp Corner. I am, sharing that URL at GoToMeeting also. You can have, all the details from there, uh, so that when you do, if you want to increase your understanding, or you want to do practically implement it after a week or month or any time, you will find the details. Or you can visit deepakosik.com, where you have, same resource, same data over there. You can send me questions, and I'm happy to help that. Meanwhile, we were doing that. I think we have created our first blob storage, and yes, we are here. So